Succah Daf Zayin. Today's first email comes from Yisrael Adler, Sruli Adler. He says, Dear Rebelli Shlita, there are no words to explain the geschmack that you're putting into the shir. It's a chiddush for a litvak to have such a geschmack like a chassid. If you're part of the shir and you see the achdus that we have, there's no difference. Litvak, chassid, all the same. I want to warn you in advance, till you don't see any kol kaira against the shir, you didn't succeed. In other words, he's saying that if the Rabbanan didn't come out against it, it's not good. From your Talmud who listens and learns at Torah anytime for quite a few months now, Sruli Adler, Spring Valley, New York. Thank you, Reb Sruli. And I thought this was a big hashgacha pratis. Avigdor Weiss from Clifton, New Jersey says, Good morning, Rebelli. I already feel a connection, although we never met. My mother grew up on 6548 St. Louis Avenue in Lakewood, Illinois. What's amazing is we just purchased a house directly across the street from this house, literally this week. Her maiden name is Schnell. Her father was Jack Schnell. Curious if you knew them. My uncles are David and Tani Schnell. Of course I knew them. I know them. I played basketball with them. I know them very well. Curious if you knew them. I've been trying to keep it up with Chabura. But as I listened to your interview with Yaakov and Achi, everything changed. You're trying to convince Yaakov Langer to join. But he said he was doing Kinam Sechta. I myself am doing it now. Hence, it's been difficult. But now that I'm doing Sukkah, I figured it's the perfect time to join. I didn't even wait. I started at Yuma Pei Hey. Just like you said, don't wait until the Masechta is finished. Start today when you have the inspiration. Thank you for sending me the Gemara. I'm still trying to figure it out. Thank you, Rebelli, for making learning geschmack and fun again. Avigdor Weiss from Clifton, New Jersey. Thank you, Avigdor. So, Succah Daf Zayin. We learned, Machloikes, how many walls do you need? 2 full walls plus a tefach, or 3 full walls plus a tefach. But where do you put this tefach? So we have a big Machloikes here. According to Rav, you take that tefach, and you put it keneged hayoytze, meaning you take it and you put it adjacent to one of the walls, one of the 2 walls, either one. And other Amoraim passing like that, although we don't pass like that. Rav Kahanan and Rav Asi asked Rav, we have a better idea. Why don't we take that tevach, instead of connecting to the wall, put it in the corner where the other 2 walls were supposed to be. And now it'll be as if it's closing off the 2 walls that don't exist. Rav did not like this idea at all. He didn't even bother to answer them. Rebbe Simon says, you take this tefach, and you make sure it's a tefach soichek, slightly larger than a regular tefach, wider fingers, and you put it at a distance of 3 tefachim from the wall. So now, 3 tefachim is lavud. It's as if the gap is bridged and closed, and now we have a total of 4 tefachim wall. 4 is the majority of the 7 tefachim that you need, and therefore it's okay. Rabbi Yehuda says, a sukkah that has, it's like a mavoi that has walls that are mefulish, meaning it's breached open on both ends, the mavoi. So you take this tefach and you put it on any one of the walls that you want. According to Reb Simon, you need a piece of wood that's 4 tefachim wide. And you take that 4 tefachim and you put it 3 tefachim away from the wall, and together you have 7, and that's a kosher wall. Now, why is it not enough to have a tefach soichek like we said before? Because in a mavim mefulish, you don't have 2 walls that are touching each other. It's 1 plus 1, and therefore 1 tefach is not enough. Rava says, and we have 3 shittas what he said. He says, you take that 1 tefach that we're discussing, and you cut it in half, and you make a tzuras ha-pesach, a shape of a door. Or, another pshat is, you take that tefach, you use it either as a tefach or as a tzuras ha-pesach. And the third sheet is, you do both a tefach and a tzuras ha-pesach. Rava says, even though that on Shabbos, Shnaim kil chazim shlishis afilu tefach doesn't work. You cannot make a reshus hayachid out of 2 walls and a tefach. But on Shabbos sukkah, it's an unbelievable chiddush. Since this wall is a good wall for a sukkah, so it also creates a reshus hayachid on Shabbos for Shabbos, only on Shabbos of sukkah. Same thing, mechitza of shesi v'erev. Let's say you take small little slats of wood that are only a finger breadth, and you put them 3 tefachim away, less than 3 tefachim away from each other. So now you bridge the gap with a lavud. It's as if it's completely closed off, and it's a real wall. Sukkah that has 2 walls with a lot of doorways in between them. In other words, it's parutz merubal ha'omed. The openings are more than the actual closed portion of the wall. On Shabbos that wouldn't work. But since it's a good mechitza for sukkah, so sukkah Shabbos, the Shabbos of sukkahs, it works. But a regular Shabbos, it wouldn't work because you need oimed merubal parts. The third wall, you need a tefach soichik, on a wall on Sukkot, not on Shabbos. But on Shabbos, you don't need a tefach soichik, you don't need a full tefach. All you need is a lechi that's a mashu, a kolshu, because a lechi doesn't have a shear. Rava says that if you take schach and you put it over 4 diyumdim, as we discussed, L-shaped pieces of wood, that's kosher. Now we don't learn this halacha from the halacha that we said before, that if you put schach on top of a mavi. Because on top of a mavi you have real mechitzas, they're just not touching each other, but the real walls. The yumdim, on the other hand, are not real walls, but you have 4 of them. So each one has its own little chiddush. If, for instance, the sun comes in through the wall, so Tanna Kama says it's kosher, that's how we paskin. But according to Rabbi Yoshi, it's unbelievable. This sukkah, since sun is coming through, is a puzzle sukkah, because he learns it from the pasuk. It's like the paroichas, the curtain, creates a schach, creates some sort of shade on the aron. So in other words, the walls have to create shade, the mechitzas have to create shade. The Tanna Kama says that this pasuk is saying, yes, it creates shade, but the curtain was bent a little bit on the top, and that's what created the shade, the top part. Abaye says there are 8 tanaim that say that a sukkah must be a diras keva. It has to be a permanent house. We don't paskin like that. Even though we have 8 tanaim, we don't paskin. Rebbe says that you need a sukkah that's 4 amos by 4 amos. That means it has to be a dira. Rebbe Yehuda says sukkah that's taller than 20 amos is kosher, meaning even though it's a dira kfuah. Rebbe Shimon says you need 4 walls. It has to be a real house. Menachem says if you make your sukkah on top of a wagon or on top of a boat, it's possible because it has to be a real dira keva. Vishami say that a sukkah ktana, a small sukkah, needs to contain roishay verubai. Not only that, shulchana. Why do you need a table? Because it has to be a dira keva, like your regular house has a table. And acherim say if you make your sukkah like a shayvach, meaning a circular sukkah, like a tall migdal for chickens, it has no corners. People don't live in houses that don't have corners. It's not considered a sukkah. Again, you need to have a dira keva according to all these 8 tanaim. Have a wonderful day.